think I do remember this. This is the stepbrother was
Half brother.
or half brother. For some reason, his pants came down. It could have been because he was trying to get his Pokemon cards out of the pocket. What was there something going on? Was there some sort of CPS thing, or were we waiting on Garth House, or what was the?
You heard from CPS. You heard from CPS that day, Judge, and they said they were investigating. And then on October the 3rd, they mailed out their findings letter, which I have forwarded a copy to Mr. Shalander, and they ruled out both allegations of neglectful supervision as well as sex use.
Okay.
There won't be any criminal charges forthcoming. And so our request today, we were set for a final about a month ago.
Right.
And Mr. Shalander filed a motion for continuance based on the Relief Act for servicemen. And because Mr. Vice was,
I remember you guys. Okay.
Mr. Vice was on the boat. And so
Right.
we reset to the day to try to get at least a Band-Aid in place moving forward. And my client has been denied, hasn't had any visitation since our initial hearing back in, I believe it was August or September. August. And so she would just like her visitation restored, since I would like to believe that if you had had a ruled out letter on the day of the hearing, we wouldn't even be here today. But we know that it's been ruled out. We have an underlying order in place. Now, although there are some changes my client would like to make long-term in this case at a final hearing, for today's purposes, what we're asking you to do is just reconsider, in other words, your prior restrictions that she only have telephone contact until CPS and everybody else got done investigating. Okay. Since that now has happened. So that's where we're at today and what we're asking you to do. Technically, you didn't enter any temporary orders back then. Thus, I did not file a motion to modify temporary orders. Okay. I'm simply asking that her underlying order be restored.
All right. Mel, what's your position?
Judge, just because the CPS didn't make a finding doesn't mean that something didn't happen that's inappropriate. And this child goes to a therapist. The child lives in Wisconsin, goes to a therapist for PTSD, a permanent PTSD from other events, not just this one event related to the mother. Let's don't forget the fact that this occurred at night, late at night. Mother's asleep, and we've got this 10-year-old child or about to be 11-year-old child awake while mother's asleep. So this occurs on mother's watch while she's sleeping. So there's a little concern about supervision from that end of it. I think there had been some indication that she could come to Wisconsin and have some kind of contact with the child. Then I can put on some testimony or get some testimony that this lady has lots of telephone availability to call the child that she passes up on. She doesn't exercise it. But just to say we're going to drop that child back into the frying pan without anything more, I think is a little premature. I'm not saying that she shouldn't have some time contact with the child at Christmas, but I'm suggesting it should be in Wisconsin when mother comes up there, not just go back to some kind of unsupervised something until there's a full-blown trial.
Okay.
Wait, may I respond?
Well, hang on. Let me just ask you this before you do, because I might ask a question that you're going to that would in your response would be responsive to it. So in the underlying order, father has primary, and in the underlying order, what was the Jonathan, what was the terms of her possession and access? I mean, basically standard possession order?
As far as the times allotted to her, yes. Now, there's lots of restrictions that are yet to be litigated as far as whether they might need to be lifted in the future, but yes. However, this would have been her Thanksgiving this year. She forewent that because of the Sailors Relief Act. We were unable to have that hearing. And so she would like to get Christmas this year, the custodial side of Christmas as the front side of Christmas as kind of makeup. And then come January, just continue with her visitation.
Okay. Well, Judge, wait. And now let me ask you this. Under the underlying order, what were the terms as far as pickup and, surrender and return, or?
It's all on mom. She's got to buy the plane ticket, get the child down here, have the child here, and then fly the child back, which she has done religiously for many years.
Okay. All right. So, all right. So anything, those were the two big questions I had. So so you said you wanted to respond to something that
Well,
Mr. Slender said.
I mean, whenever they filed for their temporary order, Judge, which technically you did not give them a temporary order, but I mean, all of their pleadings were about this incident, this alleged incident that happened over the summer. We had a hearing. We heard from CPS. We've now heard again from CPS. Nothing else has been alleged. There is nothing else on file for temporary injunctive relief other than the allegation that this particular thing that has now been ruled out on every level by CPS, that this was the reason that the visits needed to stop. This is gone. This did not happen the way Dad thinks it happened. And Dad wasn't there. You talked to the child, Judge. And ironically, the child told you exactly what CPS said. The child told you exactly what Mom said and exactly what the half brother said. The only person who thinks this was a traumatic event is Dad, who wasn't there and currently is in town, but actually testified at the last temporary hearing as well that he's never there, even at his own home in Wisconsin, because he's always on the boat. So I think to deny this child basically more access with the only parent that is trying to exercise access to this child, not only would I think it would be illegal, but it hasn't been pled for. And there's absolutely no danger. My client, as has already been testified to, is a nurse, takes care of children and people and sick people. She's not a dangerous person. She's already under the auspices of Mr. Weiss being able to drug test her. That's never come back dirty, at least not anytime recently. Years and years in the past. And so, again, I think that the legally correct answer here is that the status quo needs to be restored. And if Mel or if Mr. Shalander, excuse me, and Mr. Weiss want to pursue additional restrictions on Mom, then they need to get some evidence that justifies that, plead for it, and we need to have a trial on it.
Okay. Now, I'm not making any decisions. I would like to hear from the parties and any evidence you guys have. So don't misinterpret anything I'm asking. So Mel, other than the allegation that you have, which I do agree with you, a CPS investigation is not always, conclusive of everything. I did look at the pleadings. There's really nothing else pled, or alerting the court to any, potential problems other than the Pokemon issue. Are there any other concerns?
Only the judge that the child has a permanent PTSD condition from events that occurred probably when the original order was ordered from events of mother, and the child continues with that and continues going to a therapist because of that. And this would have added to that condition. But our pleadings, may refer specifically to the Pokemon and pants falling down issue, but it still has to do with supervision of mother being asleep while this is going on. And that's still an issue. And so to say that for Mr. Stovall to say, okay, well, it's all washed under the rug now, it's not totally accurate because you haven't made a decision because you haven't heard any of the evidence.
Right. Okay. Let me just.
And this is not for the final hearing. This is just for the Christmas only.
I understand. And that's all and we'll do that in a minute. So, but the the child is, how long is, I guess this is Mr. Weiss. Oh, right. Y'all raise your hand. Let me do that before I forget. Can you swear him in, please?
In the matter before the court, do you swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God?
Yes.
Yes.
So, Mr. Weiss, when did your daughter start this this counseling?
I believe it was August of 21.
Okay. Okay, so that was because the underlying judgment was 2019. So the child was not receiving any counseling in 2019.
Sorry.
That's all right.
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I'd have to look over the things from the clinic just to verify, but
All right.
no, it wouldn't have been 2019. No, sir.
Before or after?
It
Oh,
was
after.
it was after because
Okay. All right. All right, so, well, let me hear just both sides. Let me just hear a little evidence so that I can at least, and you're right, this will be at best a Band-Aid. We can get back and we can have a more extensive discussion about, visitation from this point, after the holidays, but this is just kind of an emergency thing anyway. So, Mel, so I think Jonathan's proposal was they would, get the child on the plane as quickly as possible, or probably around the just before or after school's out, and then keep the child, I guess, until the 28th, right, Jonathan?
I'm not exactly sure, Judge, when the school gets out up there. Down here, there's a split. Some schools have school next week. Many get out tomorrow.
Well, anyway, school, you want school out until the 28th at noon, and you're under the old orders, your client would provide the transportation costs, right?
Correct. I mean, the short version, Judge, is Thanksgiving was 9 days. She lost that.
Right.
So if we could get 9 days over the holidays, that would be at least something. And then, of course, she'd like to have her regular visits established again, because I mean, Mel's the one asking for her not, in other words, she already had visitation.
No,
So,
I know. I'm just
Okay.
trying to pin you guys down. So Jonathan wants, unsupervised Christmas, more or less. And Mel, I heard you say the mother come up to Wisconsin. And so can you tell me what that looks like, or be a little more specific about what kind of specific visitation orders you would like to see in place?
Can I get some testimony from my client, Judge?
Sure. We'll go ahead and wait, who is the movement? You're the movement. Go ahead, Mel. Call your client.
Mr. Vice, would you state your name, please?
Skylar Vice.
Mr. Vice, you've heard what the judge has been asking us and what we've been saying. What is your suggestion or proposal to the court with regard to the mother's visitation with Remy?
To keep things fair, I think mother can fly to Wisconsin, pick her up the day after Christmas, and then have her for a few days after Christmas or until New Year's.
Okay. Do you think there needs to be any type of provisions regarding the half brother or supervision regarding time with the half brother?
I don't think the mother's visit needs to supervise, but if brother comes to the visit, I do not want those. I mean, I propose those two don't stay together in the same hotel room, or if they were to come up to Wisconsin.
Okay, so I'm not clear on what you just said a while ago. Are you proposing that the mother exercise her visitation after Christmas in Wisconsin?
In Wisconsin,
Okay.
unsupervised with the mother.
Okay, not take the child back to Texas and with the stepbrother there or half brother.
Correct.
Is that right?
Well, I don't believe Remy should go to Texas whether the half brother's there or not. I believe there's a lot of things that have happened throughout Remy's life with her mother that are both physically endangering and mentally endangering to Remy.
Okay. Pass witness.
Jonathan?
what difference would it make if she's there? I mean, you even said her son could come with her as long as he wasn't alone with her or staying in the same place with her. So what is Texas going to do to hurt your child?
They live in the same house and have been left alone together in the same room.
Where nothing has happened, correct?
Well, something did happen.
Something that CPS and law enforcement now both say is nothing.
Well, no, CPS said that what had happened was non-belligerent, but if you take a statement from both Remy and Ryan, you will see that something did happen. Remy was traumatically distressed over it and then woke up her mother to tell her what had happened, even though Ryan had told her not to.
Is it your position, sir, that children that are 12 and 15 should not be allowed to watch TV together without adult supervision?
I believe as a father that I would be awake while my 11-year-old is up. I wouldn't just allow her to go willy-nilly throughout the house awake.
So your position
and
is
not
that an
having
11,
bedtimes.
so your position is that an 11 and a 15-year-old half siblings have to have adult supervision in the same room while watching TV together?
I believe.
But yes or no, sir, is that your position or isn't it?
I'm not going to answer that because I can tell you what I
Objection, Your Honor,
and I told you what I
non-responsive.
think.
Hey, wait, Mr. Vice, and I didn't really hear your answer anyway, but I need you to answer the question, please.
Yeah, I believe as an 11-year-old parent, then that parent needs to be awake
Awake or in the room
in
supervising?
case of an emergency or in case of anything that happens.
Okay. And again, so you still stand by the position, no matter what CPS has said, that this was literally a traumatic experience for your daughter.
100%.
And you don't think that your comments to your daughter after the fact and since have actually caused that trauma?
Not at all. Because
So
there
you
was
telling
trauma
her
the
that-
night of the event.
So you telling her that Remy abused her, you don't think that had any impact on her belief as to what actually happened?
Can you show me where I said that?
Are you denying it?
No, I just want you to show me. You're accusing me of saying something, so I'd like you to show me where I said that.
Did you say that?
No,
Did you talk to her about what happened?
I talked to her at the airport after the fact, yes.
And you came storming down here and picked her up before the summer was over with her mother, correct?
After I had talked to CPS, yes.
So you don't think that your actions and your reaction to this had any impact on your daughter's perception of what actually happened?
No,
Nothing further.
Any,
Mr. Vice. Yes, sir. Mr. Vice, picking the child up was with mother's non consent, wasn't it?
it was with mother's consent, yes.
Okay. And then mother had some times to be calling Remy during this fall on the phone, right?
Yes, sir.
And I'm counted, y'all provided me with 7 different dates that she didn't even bother to call her when she had opportunity to call her.
Correct.
Again, you're asking a court to put some restrictions on the visitation for Christmas until we have a final trial.
Correct.
Pass witness.
right,
Pass witness.
Jonathan?
Do you know how many phone calls she made and talked to your daughter?
I don't have the numbers in front of me. It was probably 50-50. I don't have the exact answer to that.
Isn't it true that since you're gone, your wife mans the house while you're gone on the boat, right?
Say that again.
Your wife is at home when you're on the boat, right?
Correct.
And isn't it true that every time your child's mother does call to talk to her daughter, your wife puts it on speaker and insists on monitoring and listening to that phone call?
That is not correct.
Okay. But you're not there, so you don't really know, do you?
I mean, while I was, because I've been there for multiple phone calls, and every phone call has been a call in, hand my daughter the phone, and then she typically walks up to her room.
And those phone calls have been appropriate, correct?
I don't listen into them so much, so I really couldn't tell you.
But you can't identify any particular danger that your child would be in at 12 years old while down in Texas with her mother, can you?
Well, looking at a history of events that had happened while with her mother, Yes, there is.
Has CPS ever found a reason to believe that she, let's just say in the last 5 years, has CPS ever had an investigation where it was reason to believe that Jennifer was abusive or neglectful towards your child?
The last one that had come up before this one, it was undetermined,
How long ago was
But-
that one?
but it wasn't ruled out.
How long ago was that one?
I think.
Hello? Hello?
Let's see.
Wasn't that 2017?
No. Oh, maybe it was.
Yeah.
I don't have the exact date. I'm not sure.
Pass the witness.
Mr. Vice,
Yeah.
your daughter's very apprehensive and has anxiety about having to go to Texas. Would you agree with that?
Yes, sir.
So if we're looking just in her best interest and not for the convenience either you or mother, do you suggest to the court that we get more facts out there before we perhaps put this child in this anxious or apprehensive position?
Yes, sir.
I pass the witness.
One last question, Judge. Mr. Vice, isn't it true that maybe we need to get more facts before we stop her visitation based on a hunch?
No, because if you look at the history of the behavior in Texas with her mother, you will see there's a history of neglect. There's a history of trauma. There's a lot that, and my daughter's still suffering from it to this day, which is why she's being treated for post-traumatic stress disorder at 11 years old.
Nothing further.
Anything else of this witness, Mel?
That's all I have.
Okay, all right, Jonathan,
I'll call Jennifer Rezai. Jennifer, tell us your full name.
Jennifer Lynn Rezai,
And where do you reside?
Nederland, Texas.
And where are you employed?
Maxim Healthcare.
And what is your profession?
I'm a pediatric private duty nurse.
And how long have you been a pediatric private duty nurse?
5 years, 4 years,
How many children do you have?
2.
And one is the child subject of this suit, right?
Yes.
How old is she?
She's 11.
And we've talked about Remy, your older son.
Ryan,
Ryan. How old is Ryan?
he just turned 16.
So he's 16 now. Has he expressed remorse to you for what happened that night?
Very much so. Yeah.
And has, in fact, as we discussed, CPS issued y'all a letter saying that both neglectful supervision and abuse have both been ruled out.
Yes, sir.
You got married over the Thanksgiving holiday,
I did.
and your daughter was unable to be there because of dad's actions in this case, right?
Yes.
And so you would like to have some Christmas time.
Yes.
Do you think there's any need for your daughter to avoid being in Texas? I know you're willing to go to Wisconsin, whatever judge gives you, I know you're going to do.
No, I
But do you think there's any situation or environmental concerns from her home environment here that should prevent her from being able to enjoy time with you and your family here in Texas on a regular basis?
No.
If judge wants you to send Ryan to your mom's house whenever she's here for the overnights or something along those lines, although perhaps unnecessary, are you willing to do that?
Yes.
When you do make phone calls with your daughter, are you being monitored?
Yes. Every phone call I've made with her, she doesn't go to her room. She sits on the stairs with me on speaker, or she's in the car with them and I'm on speaker, or we're on FaceTime, so they're already hearing everything anyway, but she's never just in her room. She's either in the living room, on the stairs, or in the vehicle.
So you get zero quality time with her through these phone calls.
Yes, basically.
And you would have to take a week or so off of work and everything else to be able to fly to Wisconsin, get a hotel room, and
It's not feasible for me to stay in Wisconsin for a week.
just not really the best way to do this, is it?
No.
And just for the record, the man you married is seated to your right.
Yes,
And you've been with him for how long now?
2 years.
And y'all got married over Thanksgiving.
Yes,
Gotcha.
we had our ceremony over Thanksgiving.
Right. Gotcha. Okay. Thank you. Pass the witness.
Mel?
You're an LVN
Yes,
and you work at this place. How many hours a day do you work when you work?
anywhere from 8 to 14.
Okay. And as I recall, when we were talking about this last time we had a hearing, ma'am, you agreed for her not to come to Texas in November around your wedding or around your Thanksgiving or November timeframe. If she didn't want to go, you didn't want to force her to do that. You remember that?
No, I don't want to force my daughter to do anything at all that she does not want to do. But it is also in my belief that there's some of the reasons she doesn't want to come here is because of things she's being told by her father and stepmother about things that she has happened to her, quote unquote.
But you did agree to that before, right?
Yes,
Okay. So it's not like the dad deprived you of your November visit, ma'am. You agreed to that because you didn't want to force Remy to do something that she didn't want to do, either be in the wedding or be in Texas in November. But now you're suggesting to the court through your lawyer, we're going to make her do this now, even though you told us you don't want to do that.
no, that's not what happened. Was our last hearing.
And that's a yes or no answer, ma'am.
Objection, Your Honor. He's misstating the facts and evidence. My client never agreed to give up her Thanksgiving. It never happened.
Okay,
Period.
Well,
It didn't happen.
all right. Just rephrase the question then, Mr. Schlender, just so we're clear.
You did agree for her not to have to come in November, didn't you?
I agreed.
Ma'am, yes or no?
I don't remember. I'm trying to remember. I can't.
All right. And you know, don't you, that she goes to a therapist for PTSD?
I did not know why she went. I just knew she went. I didn't know why. I was never informed of any medical decision for her.
And you know that she was going to this therapist for PTSD prior to the incident with Ryan?
I was told that she was going for coping mechanisms and for a few other anxiety issues. I was never told anything of PTSD. This is the first time I've even heard the word PTSD with my daughter.
Okay, but you knew she was going to do and doing that prior to the event with Ryan?
Yes.
Okay. And regardless of whether Ryan intended for her to see his genitals and had some type of evil motive, the genitals did get exposed to her, and it upset her enough to come waking you up to tell you about it, didn't it?
Yes.
Okay. So we just don't know in her mind what she thought, but if she thought that it was something more than innocent, or she doesn't know of something more than innocent, wouldn't you agree with me, ma'am, with even with an LVN medical background, that would in fact aggravate a PTSD diagnosis that she had, and perhaps put her in a position to have some anxiety about coming to Texas and being there now?
On a medical standpoint, I cannot say no to that question. But
okay.
I also believe that her PTSD can be exacerbated by the things that she's being told every day by the people that influence her life the most.
Okay, but you're just speculating on what they're telling her. You don't have any evidence of that.
No, because she doesn't talk to me anymore.
Okay.
Because she was told not to.
Ma'am, and isn't it true that you had the opportunity to talk to her on the phone on October 7th, October 14th, October 18th, November 8th, November 18th, November 29th, and December 6th, and you didn't bother to call her?
Two of those I know I called and she called me back, but I missed her phone calls. One of them, sometimes she'll call me from numbers I don't know, like from Wisconsin or Minnesota. And so I don't answer them because I don't know if it's spam or not until I get her voicemail. There's no designated
know you
phone
don't-
for her to call me back on.
You know she's there and you get a call from that location, but you don't answer it because you're worried about something else?
No, because it's either 8:30 at night or later, and most of the time her bedtime is 8 o'clock. So how do I know that's her?
That's right. You wouldn't know unless you answered the phone. I pass the witness.
Mr. Stovall?
Ms. Rosé, have you ever seen a child's therapy note?
Never.
Have you ever talked to your child's therapist?
Nope.
Have you ever seen a business card of your child's therapist?
I've paid a bill.
We've had 2 court hearings now. Have we ever seen the child's therapist?
No.
Have we ever seen a report from the child's therapist?
No.
So for all we know, Dad is making this entire thing up.
I just know that I pay a bill. That's it.
But we do know that CPS has ruled out the allegation that stopped your visitation 3 months ago, right?
Yes.
Pass the witness.
Mr.
Ma'am,
Schlander?
you've never asked to talk to the therapist. You've never asked for records. You know the place because you pay the bill.
Your Honor,
Right.
I'm going to object to relevance of that, Judge. It's Mel's case, and he needed to bring the evidence to convince you to stop the visits, not the other way around.
Okay. Well, I'm not,
He doesn't have to ask for him to present evidence, in other words.
well, okay. That's not, I don't know that that's a technical objection, maybe something you can clear up on redirect. Mel, go ahead.
Ma'am, it's true, isn't it? You knew the place where she gets the treatment. You haven't bothered to call the person up to talk to her. You haven't bothered to ask for records. But you know she's going to treatment because you pay the bill.
I have spoken with the stepmother about her treatment, about coping and other things. That's what I was under the impression it was for. I was never, not once, told about any medical decision for my child for anything for PTSD at all. If I would have known it was more than just coping for a few things that have happened in her life, I would have been more involved. I was told that it was under control and that it was for coping mechanisms to help some from something that did happen about 5 years ago. Yes.
Okay. So if we show you some of the records today on screen share, and it says she's got permanent PTSD, would that change your position on anything?
I can't answer that at the moment.
Yeah, we can. I don't have them. I didn't submit them to the court previous, but I have them on screen share some pertinent pages of the therapist records to show that that's the diagnosis, show that's what she's being treated for.
And Judge, I'm going to object to looking at any of that because it's now been, I don't know, about 4 months, and we have yet to receive any type of disclosures from Mr. Lander as to any designation of expert witnesses, any records he intends to use, or any of the opinions this expert may have. So no, I mean, he's had 4 months to prove his case. He didn't even call CPS at the last hearing. We did. And yet we're still taking away time from Mom based on Dad's suggestion. So I don't think we should be looking at counselors' records today. No, it'd be inappropriate.
Okay, well, wait,
Yeah.
I think he's in the middle of, were you asking her a question or were you offering something? I'm sorry, Mel, I got sidetracked. Well,
To her, she saw a record, showed that.
Okay,
Would that
she's-
change her
all right.
position as far as?
She
okay,
answered that question.
so wait. So the question is, have you seen any records, ma'am?
No, I have not.
Okay,
Then the next question, Judge, was if you saw a record that showed that she has been diagnosed with PTSD, would that change your position on anything today?
She answered that question.
well, answer it again because I forgot what her answer was.
I
What was the
can't
answer?
answer that.
Okay, she said she can answer that. Okay. All right.
See,
Okay. So again, Judge, these records were,
Sorry.
I mean, this is not the final hearing, so
All right.
there wasn't any need from my viewpoint to bring in records when it's not a final hearing. It's just a
Well,
matter of Christmas.
Yeah. Well,
Judge,
I'm
if
not.
he's trying to take away visitation on his motion and his
Wait,
TRO, he
Yeah.
has to bring evidence.
Okay,
Wait,
Jonathan, wait, stop, you guys,
wait,
stop.
Chuck,
Jonathan, let's just wait till we get this. You
I
can,
got
that's a great closing argument, maybe.
I got you.
Right, Mr. Schlander, I'm not faulting anybody for anything. Everyone knows that a temporary hearing is, oftentimes difficult, it's not as easy to get everything together. So no one's faulting anybody for that. Did you have any other questions though, Mel?
well, Your Honor, just, ma'am, under the temporary order right now, you don't have the first part of Christmas anyway. You have the second part of Christmas, don't you? You are asking the court to change it because of Thanksgiving.
You cutting out with your internet,
Right.
please state it.
Ma'am, under the present order that's in existence right now, you don't have the first part of Christmas. You have the second part of Christmas, right?
Actually,
For this year is what he's asking.
no, for this year, it was my Christmas. He switched with me for my wedding. So technically, I do have the first part of Christmas.
The order says you have the first part of Christmas, or the order had you having the second part, and you're saying he switched it with you.
No, I originally had the first part of Christmas this year. He had Thanksgiving and New Year's. We had made a verbal agreement to switch holidays so I could have her for the 9 days for my wedding and Thanksgiving, and he was going to keep all of Christmas and all of New Year's. But technically, without that verbal agreement, it is my beginning of Christmas.
I'll pass.
Nothing
witness.
further.
Okay, hang on just a second. I want to double check what she said. I didn't mean to imply I didn't trust you, but I just need to look. Yeah, even number of years. Mom has the first half of Christmas. Okay, all right. Let's see, where are we? Okay, any let's see. Do you have any other witnesses, Jonathan?
No, Your Honor. And no
Now-
affirmative relief on file
Right,
technically.
I understand. And Mel, do you have any rebuttal or anything?
all.
Okay,
No, sir.
let me ask you guys just a couple of questions, though. Miss is it Razai?
Yes.
There you go.
Okay.
Got it.
Thank you. I usually don't get them. Okay, Razai. So, all right, Ryan is 16, and that's her half brother or step brother?
Half brother. He's
Half
my,
brother. All right. Does he live with you?
he does, yes.
Okay. All right. And okay. If and I haven't made up my mind yet, I do let you have the child overnight down here through on summer or the holidays. Is there some other place that Ryan can stay just overnight, just at nighttime only?
Yes, my
Okay.
parents.
Okay. And all right. So Mr. Where did he go? Vice. So Mr. Vice, all right. So the child has been in therapy for 5 years.
No, she's been in therapy with Janisa since right after her summer visit with her mom of last year.
All right. And so did we stop the visitation when your child started the counseling? When the child started counseling, did that affect the mother's visitation?
Not at all.
Okay. And so Mr. Schlander, I guess, so there's probably nothing more going on with CPS. There's probably nothing going on with law enforcement. And I do agree with you, that's not necessarily conclusive. So where do we go from here? I mean, I'm trying to envision, what other investigation could we conduct to see if there's any more to this with Ryan than what we have right now.
Perhaps the therapist testifying about how whatever she perceived it to be,
Okay.
how it affected her, how it affected her PTSD, and then perhaps we might need maybe an ad litem to speak for the child to
Okay.
recommend things to the court. But other than that, Judge, it's just the
Right.
if you look at the fact that the mother may work as many as 14 hours a day, so even at nighttime, put the half brother out of the house doesn't necessarily resolve the problem if mother's not going to be there potentially 14 hours a day during the days that Remy is there.
Okay, all right, let me, all right,
Dad's never
so,
there. And Dad's not there at all.
okay, well, wait, just
Sorry.
stop. So listen, what, I mean, does Ryan, when you're not there through the holidays, or what days off do you have? Or what are your days off?
I work Monday through Friday.
All right,
And when my daughter's here, my job modifies my schedule. Last summer, I didn't work for 32 days because I couldn't have her put anywhere because our papers had some rule in it. So
okay.
I was off work for 32 days. I can make my schedule be whatever I need it to be.
Okay, all right. And, okay, so let's talk about this. Let me pull up a calendar so we can take a look and see how this might look. I'm inclined to let you have your Christmas visitation, but I want to hear exactly how you're going to make this work. And also I want to put some things in place to ensure that that there's not any risk. So, all right, Mr. Vice, when does she get out of school for the holidays? Do you fly up there and get her and then you fly back with her? Or
Yes,
does she
I buy 6 plane tickets at a time.
Okay, 6? Why 6?
Because she's not allowed to fly by herself.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
So
Right.
I
You alone. Yeah, you alone, you back.
then me and her, me and her.
You there with her, and okay, that's 6. I get it. Okay, so do you have any idea when, by the assuming that it is the 19th, can you kind of flesh out when you think you might be able to get up there?
Honestly, it depends on the plane tickets. I'd have
Right.
to look at the
Okay.
website.
All right, so
Okay, Judge, we've got the calendar whenever you're ready.
all right, what does the school say?
The last day of school is tomorrow.
The 16th?
19th is the first day off of school, but as
Okay.
we all know, Christmas
Right.
vacation begins the last day of school, the
All right.
16th. So,
So listen, so Mom, you can, you'll exercise, well, basically, you're gonna, I'm just gonna let you have your, your Christmas vacation, which will be starting as early as the 16th, ending no later than the 12 p.m. on the 28th. Ryan will not be, in the house at night, overnight. And I'm sorry about that for Ryan. Maybe we can, hopefully we'll fix that be able to fix that one of these days. Ryan will not be the babysitter. Okay.
Yeah.
So no, he won't be, she wouldn't be unattended with, with him. No one will discuss the case with the child. No one will, make derogatory remarks about each other with the child. And so, Mr. Vice, I'm really not. I mean, I understand your concern. I hope you don't think I'm just being, kind of ignoring this whole thing. But I'm not going to know if things are going to get better with in this with unless the child eventually, is spend some time with the mom. This is so we'll just if she gets back and the trauma is worse, then I'll just have to work harder to try to undo that. But I don't really have any way to gauge this, and I just further investigation might completely change the whole direction of this case. But I don't think I've got enough really to legally hold her back from her Christmas visitation. So all right, so we'll do that, and then I will give you. So look, she's in all the way up there. Is it? Are you likely to be turning around and going back to visit her or bring her down here in January? I mean, just be practical. It doesn't. I'm not going to hurt it.
Financially,
how often can you afford a round trip?
the best decision financially would be every couple months.
Every other
Right.
month.
Okay, so I don't have to worry. So we don't have to worry about visitation in January right now. Or so as long as I get you guys at least some sort of hearing in January, temporary, or Mel, if y'all want to think about it.
We were set for a final in October.
I understand. Okay, so shall we look at January and see how that goes? And I guess we'll make that the final, huh? All right.
I'm okay with that if Mel is. I'll
Okay.
defer to Mel
All
on
right.
whether we need another
So-
temporary or not. Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and, so Mel, are you there? Yeah, all right, I'm sorry. Hey, you gotta move every once in a while. I have to put a mirror under your nose. Anyway, so Mel, so we'll do this. We will, you guys will, I'll let you communicate with Maritza and try to find some time in, January. We need, Maritza, we need a real strong, hard date because obviously if Mr. Weiss is gonna travel, I want to be sure that, nothing accidentally happens to prevent him from, if you're coming all the way down here for trial, I want to be sure that we got, that we go to trial, okay? Because it's just too, now, if you guys want to shoot for another Zoom, which is fine with me, I don't know if we have any Zooms set up in January, but we could do it by Zoom, but I'll leave. But if any of you insist on the in-person, I think I'd have to go with that. Okay. All right.
Okay.
So we'll reset this for a final. We do not have to give them 45 days because they've already been set for trial before. All right. Yes, sir. Mr. Weiss.
Can I ask a question quick?
Yeah.
So in regards to like our current court order states that Jennifer, if Jennifer's not with Remy, that Remy is to be with her sister, are we still keeping that? Are we still going by our current court order?
What do those orders? I don't know what the orders say about that
It
exactly.
just says if Jennifer cannot be with Remy, then Remy is to be with her sister Martha, her Aunt Martha.
I mean, for 5 minutes or 5 hours or what?
Just if Jennifer's at work, if Jennifer has to work and can't be home with Remy, then Remy, it says that Remy is to be with her aunt.
Let me
Judge, her aunt lives 45 minutes away and she's married now. I think the child should be allowed to stay at home.
Oh, hang on.
The same thing the dad does when he's on the boat.
Right.
Her aunt is also the one who came up with this idea and agreed to it.
That was
And
several years ago.
Judge, if Jonathan's position is we should go back to the existing order, then, there'd be no reason to change that if that was his position.
We wouldn't want to make it easy on mom to see your child. You're right.
Right. So Miss Rosari, are you taking off for the Christmas holidays?
I can't because it's in 3 days because I would have to get her this weekend. I'm obligated to my shifts
Okay.
next.
Okay, so,
Sorry.
all right, that's all right.
You get until the
All right.
28th, so you'll be able to work on that.
Yeah, I can
All right.
take off after this next week. I just have to work this next week.
Okay, I understand. Don't panic.
But she's not going to be able to buy a plane ticket for tomorrow anyway. It's going to be probably Monday or Tuesday before we can give dad notice that she's got the plane tickets arranged. So-
And but my sister has a newborn and moved 45 minutes away.
No, I get it. Look, if not, I'm trying to, if kind of the problem is if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander, and I'm trying to work this out. But obviously your sister may not be the most practical person that the child can stay with. And so let's not create something that's impossible. I'm not trying to set anybody up for failure. So,
Thank you.
all right. So, so just tell me, obviously Ryan is not going to babysit.
Yeah, but my parents live like a mile from me.
Okay. All right. Mr. Weiss, anything wrong with her parents?
Well, we've had issues in our past that like her stepmom has been known to drink throughout the day. Her dad has been known to not follow current court orders.
Okay.
So
all right.
that's the only issue I have.
Wait, stop. Everybody stop. Okay. So,
Sorry.
All right. I'm gonna, so I think that I think if your game plan is to have your grandparents babysit for you when you're at work with at least with the child, I'll permit that. Okay. So, all right. Cause it's just not, I don't know how practical it is to, and it's kind of late for us to be coming up with that. Do what? All right. So we'll look at, all right. Yes, Mel. You're muted.
Write their names for me.
Shelton.
I'm not muted, I don't think.
I just saw you
Can you
raise
hear
your
me?
finger. Yes, barely.
Can
Uh,
you hear me now?
just barely.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, keep it short because I'm losing you.
I'm asking, I'm asking, how will we know when they're coming?
She's gonna let you guys know and just as soon as possible. We'll have to, because we don't know what the airline's arrangements will be. So, but her visit starts on paper, Friday. So anytime from Friday, it's, Friday on, whenever she picks the child up, that is her period of possession. But she does have to have the child back to him by the 28th at noon. I mean, it might be the 27th at 6 o'clock at night, but it's got to be within that time, that gap of time.
Okay.
But
You
she's
have
got to
another-
give us some kind of notice when she's coming. So,
We're going to let you know as soon as she buys the ticket, Mel.
Okay. So,
okay.
what, Mel, you got another young daughter in the car with you? How many daughters do you have?
That's my
anyway?
wife.
How many
That-
daughters do you have anyway?
That's my young wife, Judge.
Oh, okay. All right. I get it. One of those,
Thank you.
one of those, like November, fall, spring relationships. I get it. And you're not the spring
That's
relationship.
right.
All right. Okay. I'll let you guys
I'll take that as a
go.
compliment.
You're welcome. The fact that she hooked up with you, that's the real compliment. But so, Jonathan, draw up those orders and y'all circulate them just as quickly as you can, okay? All
Yes,
right.
Your Honor, will do.
We'll reconvene and have the hearing, trial in January if we can make that happen, okay? All right.
Understood.
All right, I think I'll let you guys go.